From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fairbanks Evening News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. The trial of the man accused of tampering with evidence in the murder of 2 state troopers went to the jury today, and they will continue deliberating tomorrow. Stephanie Woodard reports from Nenana.
After 5 days, the trial of Arvin Kangas came to a close this morning. Both the prosecution and defense had closing arguments in front of a jury of 14, 7 men and 7 women. Arvin Kangas is facing 3 counts of felony tampering with physical evidence. He faces up to 5 years on each count.
From the time of the shooting, or shortly thereafter, those shots being fired, he began a mission to try to make the situation better for Nathaniel.
It was up to the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Arvin committed those crimes.
The most prominent piece of evidence of what happened in those 3 minutes that can't be affected by what people think and their perception is the tape recording.
You have to be convinced before you can convict. You have to be convinced of a couple of things. There's about the instructions, certainly, but you have to be convinced that there was not an attempt on the part of Trooper Rich.
One thing that was touched on was the credibility of Arvin Kangas and the witnesses who took the stand. The defense talked about the blame lying on Nathaniel Kangas rather than his father, Arvin.
Who's saying that this was to defend his father? Is it Arvin Kangas planning this idea? No. I submit if you listen to it, you'll hear it's Nathaniel Kangas saying he's doing it to protect his dad.
During closing arguments, they touched on the next trial to be held at the end of this year for Nathaniel Kangas. He's faced with the alleged murder of both the troopers inside the Tanana residence.
And Mr. Kangas doesn't need to know if it would have been a great defense for Nathaniel Kangas to advance in his trial, that he was defending his dad.
I'm Stephanie Woodard reporting from Nenana.
In an effort to cut roughly $3 million in expenses, the University of Alaska Fairbanks will suspend or eliminate numerous low-enrollment academic programs. UAF Chancellor Brian Rogers and Provost Susan Henricks released a memo today listing 38 programs that will be suspended, eliminated, merged, or redesigned to increase enrollment. Among the programs that will be discontinued are the Engineering and Science Management Masters of Science programs and the Philosophy Bachelor of Arts program. UAF spokeswoman Marmion Grimes says 15 additional programs are awaiting assessment.
That program. One important thing to remember is that for students that are already in programs that are being discontinued, they'll be allowed to finish their degrees in a reasonable amount of time. That's something that is required by our accreditation, and that's something that we're committed to doing for those students.
House and Senate floor sessions, as well as a conference committee meeting on the state operating budget, were delayed today in Juneau. The Senate Finance Committee met to discuss the state's financial crisis. Legislative Finance Division Director David Teal walked the committee through a presentation on how the state budget is tied to the fluctuating price of oil. The state faces a $3.5 billion deficit amid oil prices that range between $50 and $60 a barrel. The outlook for next year is also bleak. K-12 education and the Department of Health and Social Services are the 2 largest budget drivers, consuming nearly 50% of the operating budget. Senator Anna McKinnon says those drivers need continued scrutiny as the state looks to the future.
We are looking at K-12, trying to work with our educators and school districts. And we are now on to Medicaid and trying to look at reform inside of that area of cost drivers in our budget. So for those who may be critical of whether we're not looking at what we're supposed to do, I would just say that we are trying to take one component at a time.
When we come back, an enterprising student at UAF won a contest for creating an app last year, and today he got to showcase it for Earth Day. Also in our military report, the Warrior Transition Unit, or WTUs, at Fort Wainwright and Fort Richardson will soon close, but for a good reason. We'll tell you why when we return. Stay with us. And welcome back. Fort Wainwright celebrated Earth Day by inviting interior students to come see what they can do to save energy and preserve the environment. Kids from Ladd Elementary, Arctic Light, and other schools made it to the event today. Booths with energy-saving activities and environmentally friendly ideas were available to the kids. Several creative students participated in a fashion contest that had them wearing costumes made of recycled material. Fort Wainwright Garrison Commander Colonel Cape Zip says Fort Wainwright's Earth Day event is meant to get the kids thinking about where they live.
A lot of people forget that Fort Wainwright is a lot bigger than just what's represented here next to Fairbanks. 1.6 million acres that we take care of in the interior, and so that's why we invite the schools to come and participate, and helps remind the next generation that they also have a responsibility.
UAF students are celebrating Earth Day with a twist of technology thanks to the creation of a fellow student. Eric Williams was showcasing his newly created app called Map Post earlier today. Williams won the university's Sustainable App Contest last year, earning himself a grant from Verizon. The app allows students to get the word out about upcoming events on campus digitally, thereby saving resources used to make flyers and posters. Map Post is free and available for download on most smartphones and handheld devices. Williams says the app is both economically and environmentally sustainable, in addition to helping students learn about their surroundings.
Economically, it's going to be self-sufficient. It's going to be all user-generated data. You can add your own posts and groups. And environmentally, it's going to save a lot of resources. It's going to save paper and time from going up and putting up posters and flyers and all that sort of stuff.
The Department of the Army has announced the inactivation of 10 Warrior Transition Units, or WTUs, as the number of wounded, ill, and injured soldiers requiring care in those units continues to decline. Monty Bowen has details now in this week's Military Report.
Since February 2014, the number of soldiers receiving care and support in WTUs has decreased from over 7,000 to less than 3,700. As a result, the Army will reduce the number of units from 25 to 15 by August of next year. The transition units at both Fort Wainwright and Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson will close. Currently, there are 27 soldiers receiving care at the units in Alaska, down from 73 in April of 2014. As the units are inactivated, soldiers and their families will continue to receive care and transition assistance.
It allows them to go to populations where there's larger numbers of wounded soldiers that are going through the same process that they're going through. So I think there's value added in being in an environment where there's a larger number of soldiers that are all kind of going through a process together.
Besides the fact that they can help you pursue your career within the military, they also have a lot of opportunities that are open to follow civilian career paths. So they're kind of preparing us for both sides, whether your medical conditions get you out of the service or you stay in.
The reductions will also help the Army meet budget needs.
It also allows for the Army to best use resources. In other words, focusing the resources that we have in a way that makes the most sense, not only for the soldier, for the care that they're getting, but also for the taxpayer.
This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Military Report is brought to you by Stanley Nissan. Innovation for all.
Okay, Joe Cook is up next with sports as the Ice Dogs get ready for their second playoff series. Also, local coaches sound off on another possible change to high school football. Stay with us.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your midweek local sportscast. The Midwest Division Finals between the Fairbanks Ice Dogs and the Minnesota Wilderness begins this Friday. After sweeping the Minnesota Magicians, Fairbanks will be on the road for the first two games of the Division Finals. The Wilderness evaporated the Coulee Region Chill in games 4 and 5, winning by the score of 9-1 in both games. Aaron Miller leads the team with 10 points, and goalie Brock Kautz has a 3-1 record. This could be strength versus strength in Game 1 as Fairbanks counters with defense. Patrick Munson has allowed 1 goal in his first 2 outings with 47 saves. They outshot the Fairbanks Ice Dogs, did the Magicians 137-84 and held them to single-digit shots in 4 periods. The Ice Dogs and Wilderness tied in the final regular season standings, but Fairbanks won their second straight division title by having more regular season wins. The season series ended 2-2 with both squads winning at home. Game 1 is Friday night at 7:30 Central Time in Cloquet, Minnesota. Head coach Trevor Stewart talks about this second-round matchup.
I believe in a lot of respects are similar to us. We have a terrific coach. We have really good forwards, good defensemen. We've got to make sure that we're disciplined, like we play with tough discipline throughout the entire 60 minutes. We can't get away from our game plan. And this team is definitely definitely way too good for us to get outside the box and expect that we're going to be able to find ways to win when we aren't playing our best hockey. So very important that we're focused and we're executing, and everybody's just kind of pulling a piece of their open, working hard for each other.
And there could be another change to the high school football landscape, and it could potentially affect Fairbanks. How does 6 teams in the Rail Belt Conference sound? Well, some are for it and others not so much. Here's more.
Recently, the ASAA revealed that Bartlett and Chugiak could possibly leave the Cook Inlet Conference and move into the Rail Belt, making it a 6-team conference. Palmer left the Rail Belt for the Medium Schools Division. Lathrop, West Valley, Wasilla, and Colony make up the conference now. West Valley head coach Kyle Allison is in favor of change.
I think it's going to be something that's going to be productive and also allow football here to grow in a way that hasn't happened in the last, 10 years or so.
Lathrop head coach Rusty Ham of the defending Rail Belt champion Malamutes is all for Chugiak to join the conference. He feels they fit in terms of school size, around 1,100 kids, and competition.
Bring them over, gives us 5. Leaves Anchorage with 6 quality, tough, competitive teams. Give us 4, give them 4 for the playoffs, and let's go for it.
Bartlett, with an enrollment near 1,500, Ham's not too fond of them joining the conference.
They're a powerful school, so if they come in our conference, it hurts us in chances of hosting a playoff game. I don't think that's good for Fairbanks.
As long as you're going out there competing and you're bringing the level of competition up, it can't be anything but better entertainment, can't be nothing but better sportsmanship all the way around, and that's something that I think Alaska football has needed for a long time.
Neither team will move prior to 2016. But wait, there's more. If Bartlett and Chugiak move over, then a 9-game schedule could be introduced with the top 2 from the CIC and the Rail making the playoffs. There will be an ASAA board meeting early next week in Fairbanks to discuss these changes and more. Joe Cook, Channel 11 Sports.
And the local mixed martial arts scene will be on display this Friday night at the Carlson Center for the Solid as a Rock Fighting Championships. KTVF reporter Mike Fussell has more on the upcoming event.
Interior MMA fighters are counting down the days to the Solid as a Rock Fighting Championships. The Carlson Center will be hosting the around 10 matchup fight card this Friday at 7:30. Several area gyms will be sending participants to duke it out against opponents from across the state. Promoter Ben Bennett says he's enforced training contracts to ensure fights are safe and exciting.
Some of them have fought in past shows and stuff, but I put in everyone's contract that they need to be in a gym and training regularly. So I've hunted most of them down and got them either here, or they're training at Krav Maga, or they're training out the combatives on base, and I just kind of drive around and check in. And
the Solid as a Rock Fighting Championships are now in their 9th year. And this time around, the main event pins 2 brawlers with a history against each other for the 155-pound title. It will be hometowner Seth Kroll and Cody Rice, who went toe-to-toe about a year ago. The matchup went to a decision after 3 rounds. Rice got his hand raised, but Kroll says he's expecting a good fight this weekend.
We're both stand-up fighters, so I think it's going to be one hell of a war. We always do that. And I don't know, man, it's going to be a good fight.
A number of other fight night events have gym members of all types preparing for Friday. Lady grapplers will get their time to shine in the event's first ever female grappling tournament. It will also see some debut amateur fights. Head coach Jeff Nielsen says everyone's been very busy getting prepared.
Should be some good, exciting fights, a lot of upcoming amateurs, new people to the sport. It's just business as usual. Guys here are constantly competing, so everyone just keeps busy, keeps prepping.
Reporting from Frostbite Valley Tudo, I'm Mike Fussell.
And that'll do it for sports tonight. Mike Schultz is next with your 4-weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back into our Wednesday night newscast. Mike Schultz with you once again talking about weather. We had a lot more sunshine today. Temperatures slowly working their way back up. And we're looking at, like I said, temperatures close to 60 degrees this weekend and into the first part of next week. So that's nice weather to talk about. As far as our photograph for tonight, this one's sent in by Billy Mitchell, who lives in Tok. Was able to capture this gorgeous sunset in Tok. And as always, if you have a photograph that you'd like to share with us, by all means, send it to photos@ktvf11.com. We'll be more than happy to share it with the rest of the audience. Your numbers look like this at the airport, 48 so far for the high. I wouldn't be surprised to see it hit 50 before the evening's over, because we do get warmer temperatures as the evening progresses. The low last night, 25. The record high, 65 in 1940. Record low, 20 below in 1924. Sunrise and sunset, about 16 hours and 7 minutes of daylight. That's a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. On our satellite and radar, not much going on at all, except a new plume of moisture moving in across southeast Alaska, bringing some rain to Ketchikan, and it'll be probably raining there tomorrow. Otherwise, we're looking at moisture coming in to the western side of the state, but nothing really heavy being reported in that area. As far as the entire state is concerned, it looks like this. Again, some showers around the Ketchikan area, 47 degrees, the same for Juneau. Nice day in Anchorage, almost 50 degrees there, 49. Some showers around the Kodiak region, 43 degrees there. Cold Bay at 37, up and down the west coast. More clouds, like I said, on the satellite picture. Temperatures right around 24 at Nome, also 24 at Barrow. And Fort Yukon looking at 45 degrees. Lower 48 weather on the west coast. Things are getting a little more wet. There's a little more moisture coming in. Some showers around the Seattle area. Also some showers around the Los Angeles area. Isolated thunderstorm activity. Phoenix not as warm as it was yesterday. More thunderstorms across parts of Texas. Nice weather across the northern plains. Minneapolis looking at 49 degrees, while 59 at St. Louis. Showers and thunderstorms across the Gulf Coast and across the Florida Peninsula. Up in the New York area, things have cleared out. On the satellite and radar, you can see still some lingering showers across the Great Lakes, and that's helping to push some of that moisture to the east, and then more storms breaking out across the central and southern plains, right on down through parts of Texas, San Antonio, and Corpus Christi, Texas today, reporting some very heavy rainfall in thunderstorms. And like I said, the showers were just popping up a little bit here on the coast, as you can see, right around the Los Angeles area and over the Pacific Northwest. Now, the overall outlook is calling for more rain moving into the Pacific Northwest of the storm system coming in by tomorrow. And the jet stream is making a change. Boy, is it ever. One big dive down to the south across the Rocky Mountain states, then up a high pressure ridge, and then diving right back down once again over the southeast and the eastern half of the country. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Here's what it looks like in the northern section. Snow showers for Barrow. 1 to 3 inches of snow possible in the Nome region. They can't get rid of winter. And mostly sunny skies for Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, the best weather. We're looking at mostly sunny skies across the entire region. And temperatures warming back up again over the 50 mark, 54 in the Fairbanks area. Over southeast Alaska, cloudy skies for Juneau, a chance of rain developing at Ketchikan, and 52 for the high in Juneau. As far as the southwest is concerned, mixed rain and snow for Cold Bay, rain showers in Kodiak, and snow showers for Bethel. And down around the Anchorage Bowl, for the most part, it looks like we're looking at looks like mostly sunny skies in Anchorage and partly cloudy skies in Valdez, with sunny skies for Homer. Okay, time once again for our kids' weather. And unfortunately, we had a little technical problem, so I couldn't show you the young lady asking the question. Her name was Olivia, and she's from Chinook Charter School. She asked about what the main chemical makeup was of raindrops. Well, hydrogen and oxygen is usually what you find in raindrops, but of course, if they pass over some other areas, they can pick up some of the chemicals in the air or on the ground there and get mixed in there too. So good question, Olivia, and again, thanks to McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And tomorrow night, the teacher's going to be here with a really interesting fact about lightning. Okay, here's your latest update on the Nenana Ice Classic. Our good friend Stephanie was down there today, and she was able to get some video. We're going to show you that of what the tripod looks like right now. As you can see, it's still hanging in there, basically leaning to the side, and there's not much movement shown on it. Could go any time, but right now, it's still hanging in there, so if you've got a ticket past today, you might be in good shape. We'll tell you more as we get more updates on that. Now, as far as our forecast for tonight, 25 degrees for the overnight low. Clear skies. Keep an eye out for meteors. That's right, meteors. That's a Lyrid meteor band that's going to be passing through the area. We might see some meteors late tonight, so keep an eye out for that. And we're in good shape for auroras also. Now, tomorrow's forecast, 54 degrees, sunshine with warmer temperatures. And the 5-day outlook looks very, very nice. As you can see, temperatures, like I said, near 60 degrees all the way through next Tuesday. And overnight lows rising above the freezing mark. We're looking at temperatures like 35 degrees by Sunday night and into Monday in the mid-30s also, Daryl. So nice weather, great weather.
That is great weather. I mean, I can't remember an April that's been this warm. I mean, warmer days, yes, but not consistently warm throughout the month. So And I don't see hardly any snow, do you?
No.
Anyway.
And the only thing we have to worry about now, Daryl, is we're worrying about wildfire potential.
Right.
Because it's drying out so quickly that it could become really a very nasty situation.
Well, let's cross our fingers on that one,
Yeah.
that's for sure. All right, thanks, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of our broadcast. We are glad you could join us.
And a reminder that we'll be back here at 11 o'clock with more news for you.
All right, so join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11, like you said, or online anytime, webcenter11.com.
We're going to leave you tonight with music from students at their spring concert today at Wood River Elementary School. From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.